A lawyer's table is set aside daily at lunchtime for the town's barristers and other prominent citizens.
In today's economy, the farmer is a second-class citizen. We lost 1 million farm operators since 1955. This can't continue much longer. We are fast losing our family-type farms. This is a sad state of affairs for the rural communities like Vandalia.
I don't think that a farmer is a second-class citizen. He just don't need as many of them as we used to. That's the only trouble.
We've had good leadership. We've got good leadership now. But I can see in the future where we're not going to have a continuation of this leadership that we've had, because the young fellas are just not coming back to Vandalia. That, I think, is the biggest worry for Vandalia, just like it's a worry for all of these small country towns, because their young men are the greatest asset they have, and if they don't come back, we just can't expect to maintain the position that we have reached so far with the leaders that we do have.
Both of my boys plan to return to Vandalia. They're proud of their community, and they plan to, after they finish their education, plan to return here. One is a lawyer and one is a doctor here. I think that speaks highly for our community, that they have that desire to return.
Many business majors in college may come back because there will be an opportunity here for somebody in business. But for somebody in a specialized professional field or technological field, there will be nothing here to offer.
But I think it's our duty, it's our job to educate these people to be citizens of the world, not just Vandalia.
I feel quite a few people will come back after they get away and realize the trials and tribulations of the world, and they will decide that Vandalia is not such a bad city after all.
Well, so many people were upset in the book because it said that our young people leave our town. But this didn't upset me, because I think that if our young people are ambitious and if they get a fine education, we rather want them to go where they have more opportunity. I'm particularly concerned, though, that our children, or so many of our children and their parents, aren't motivated towards college. We have a number of children at high school who are definitely college caliber, but who never go, who even if they have the desire to go, they get no encouragement by their parents. And right now, I'm wondering what we can do in our community to change that.
The talk in Vandalia did not stop with a discussion of its problems. It led to a soul-searching study of personal attitudes and relationships hitherto taken for granted.
When certain problems come up, such as acquiring a factory, we have a fund drive and we get the factory. When other problems come up, such as paving a certain street, the street is paved. But I wonder if we consider the deeper and really the more meaningful purposes behind our actions at times. In many ways, we think that just because we call ourselves Christians and we're members of a church, the being exposed to the church therefore makes us Christians. And of course, this is not necessarily true. The idea of the Christian church being a community of believers is very lacking here. We often think of Christian stewardship as having rummage sales or holding dinners, and we make the body of Christ into a used clothing store or to a restaurant. And we expend our efforts in a very meaningless way, whereas we do not give of ourselves, and we do not really relate ourselves to the problems of one another.
We're interested in each other. We know each other. We're concerned about the good and the bad that happens to us. We have wonderful churches, and certainly churches are the foundation on which any community must be built.
I'm particularly concerned about the general apathy of the people in a small community such as ours to seek out the facts, to find the trouble spots and to do something about them without letting one continuous group carry on those matters. We can't let other people run our lives for us. We must be interested in what we do and find out the truth before we act. If we do that, this community will be all right, as will all others.
The town of Vandalia is an important community. Not just important to the people in the town itself or the county, but to everybody in America who's interested in the practice of democracy and the future of our country. Vandalia, being a small town, is one of the places where democracy could be expected to work the best, because, as Lewis Mumford says, democracy works best in small units where people interact with each other, where they know each other face to face. The problems that Vandalia faces aren't any problems that are peculiar to Vandalia. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with Vandalia or bad about Vandalia. They are problems which are brought on by a change in the organization and the society and economy of the United States and of the world. What makes Vandalia especially significant is the way in which the people of this community see these problems, what they propose to do about it, how they propose to organize themselves to deal with it, and whether or not they are going to be able to do this. What Vandalia lacks, and what many other communities in small-town America seem to lack, is a method of arranging these resources so that they can accomplish the ends of progress, so that they can keep their communities abreast of developments, so that they can keep them from withering or shrinking or dying as times change.
A report. The issues raised by Joe Lyford in Vandalia are international ones. The problems of the small farm, dwindling job opportunities, the migration of young people to the big cities, inadequate local government and leadership are common to any highly developed industrial democracy today, in Western Europe as well as in America. What is significant and hopeful about the talk in Vandalia is that despite some outcries of anger and indignation, there was little tendency to sweep the problems under the rug, nor did people throw up their hands in despair, saying these problems are too much for us or let the government take care of them. There is a sincere, even an anxious desire to find answers to these problems. Whether or not answers will be forthcoming may be less important than the effort made to find them. Whether the talk in Vandalia will remain just talk. But this is a question all of us everywhere should ask of ourselves. As one newspaper put it, the United States has many Vandalias. This is Chet Huntley reporting. Good night.
Thursday night, 240 Medal of Honor winners will gather for a military reception at the White House in Washington, D.C. Tune in Thursday night at 7:30 for a special telecast of this event. 6:30 Central Time here on NBC.